Brace yourself for the ultimate Carolina Panthers experience. Welcome to Two Growls, One Roar, the podcast that hits harder than a Luke Kuechly tackle. We're diving deep into the heart of Panther Nation, bringing you unrivaled passion, insider takes, and pure gridiron fire. From Wilmington to the cosmos, this is your home for the fiercest football talk east or west of Charlotte.
Welcome in, folks. Holy crap, you guys are tuning in. We are going to throw up. We're going to get some audio going here in just a minute. You guys are interested in the NFL draft. We know this. You'll be able to hear a little bit of content from me. We're going to get the mock going. No, we can't live stream what's happening, but we're going to take a look and analyze this. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, a lot of stuff happening out there tonight. Let me go ahead and get this fired up so we can get this show on the road for you guys. We're going to see if we can get some audio plugged in here on top of me talking so that you guys can potentially hear through ESPN radio the broadcast. It's a little bit delayed, but better than nothing. And we can take a look at the board as we get this fired up here. I'm actually going to edit this a little bit too. Hope you guys are doing well out there tonight. Of course, this is primarily the Carolina Panthers podcast, so our focus is going to be all about those Carolina Panthers. And I don't know what happened and why all of a sudden all these folks are tuned in, but if you are here, it is appreciated. One, if you want to follow me, go for it. Let's go ahead and get this pulled up. So number one, if you guys, I got to turn this down. Y'all can't hear it, but behind me, man, ESPN radio is talking my head off over here. NFL Draft IQ is a resource that you guys can go out to. Hey, let's refresh it because this absolutely is not up to date. I want to make sure we get you guys what you want on here. Will Campbell, LSU. There we go. So I'm getting caught up to speed. I had to watch the first three picks with our oldest. He's still got homework to do, but he's interested in this. He was fascinated with the way they're able to get the jerseys, how quickly they get the names on the back of the jerseys. I told him, you got to go out and watch it, man. You absolutely do. Cam Ward, no surprise. Jacksonville trading up for Travis Hunter. Think we expected that. Abdul Carter to the New York Football Giants paired with Brian Burns, and the Patriots get their tackle for Drake Maye. Folks, if you are a Panthers fan, look at this down here. We got a nice board. I don't know why this is not updated to remove Travis Hunter because he is not available, or Abdul Carter. We're going to see if we can refresh the board on here. Maybe it's a glitch in the matrix because Daniel Jeremiah, I believe, had a lot of these guys pegged potentially to Cleveland. So we can look at the big board on the left, which is just as good. Ashton Jeanty, Mason Graham, Jalen Walker. If you're a Panthers fan, this is delayed on my side as we hear this. But if you're a fan, I got to turn this off, dude. Sorry. I got to figure out a way to get that pulled up somewhere else because this thing is driving me crazy. Y'all can't hear it, but I have the NFL draft behind me. Maybe I need to pull it up somewhere else. Doesn't matter. Let's get this pulled back up here. So again, as we get back into this, Cleveland Browns. And so we look at who's up. Panthers are right around the corner. We just saw the massive trade between Jacksonville, the Cleveland Browns. Now, folks, if you're a Panthers fan, and we did hear that Cleveland possibly wanted to trade back, we're going to find out in a minute if that happened. Probably not. Trade back again. The Raiders, and I got to tell you, Pete Carroll is hilarious. He's out here trolling everyone, trying to pinpoint who he's going to pick. I think if you're a Panthers fan and you are a fan of Jalen Walker, let's just assume you are, you have to be thinking, I think if you get through, again, unless something crazy happens here, if you get through the Raiders pick with Jalen Walker still on the board, I think you have a really good chance that he's going to land here in Carolina. Should the Panthers decide not to trade back. That's what we're going to be monitoring, is the possibility of the Panthers trading back. I'm going to try to get tuned into this again. Just listening through the audio on ESPN radio isn't the greatest. This thing's taking a while. I'm going to see if I can get a login here for myself to be able to pull this up and stream it through. But in general, I don't think there's really been any surprises. And you know what I should also do on the side here? Smart person would pull up Adam Schefter, because he is the man with everything. He's going to know what's happening when it's happening. So we're going to keep our eyes tuned there. I don't know, man. It's almost like you need a feed for Adam Schefter. You also need a feed for just everything else that's happening right now. We need a Twitter feed running. We need an Adam Schefter feed. We need the draft feed. Too many things going on. Also, I tweeted this out while it happened, but man, congratulations to Travis Hunter. Very well deserved. Had both coordinators. Part of the problem with me doing this audio version of this crap is I can't see it, but I did see his short interview there on ESPN. Both coordinators on the phone thinking about how they can utilize him. I'm excited to see what he can do. I hope you guys know I was on ESPN Wilmington earlier today talking to my man Randy Slack, and we were talking about Travis Hunter and hoping that he would go to a location where he could play both sides of the ball. Like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, generational talent. I know it's tough in the NFL to play both sides of the ball. We haven't really seen it happen, but I hope it works. I hope he gets to do both, like, for real. But I hope you guys are doing well out there tonight, tuned in. You guys can be involved in the show. If you want to hit the chat, feel free to hit the chat. We are here. We're going to probably go through the first round because I think it's interesting just to see what happens, especially if the Panthers do decide to trade back. I'm keeping my feed refreshed over here with Adam just to make sure we don't see any news that comes along. This is a laid-back episode, folks. All right, Browns are using the 5th overall pick. Mason Graham is off the board. Mason Graham off the board. Going to the Browns. So if you are a Panthers fan, this is per Adam Schefter. Maybe we just pull up his feed. It may be even better. All happening at once. But off the board, Mason Graham. Now you look at the board. This is either going to be a good scenario for the Panthers or a bad scenario as we look at Jalen Walker. All right, let me take this down. Sorry, guys. I know y'all don't hear it, and I keep complaining about it, but I literally cannot focus enough on everything that's happening to keep you guys up to speed. So Mason Graham off the board. A lot of people tried to tell us that he was going to fall, that they didn't think that he was top 10 worthy, and now we see Mason Graham off the board. We're looking at the Daniel Jeremiah draft IQ board on NFL.com. Best available players. Panthers fans, again, if you're leaning in the camp of Jalen Walker, you're hopeful that maybe he gets passed on here with the Raiders. Now, I will tell you, folks, Adam Schefter just tweeted, this is not a surprise, but the Carolina Panthers have been fielding calls about trading the number 8 pick. Fielding calls tells us that teams are interested. Teams are calling. When you talk about fielding calls, this isn't them calling out to people. These are teams inquiring, hey, we want pick number 8. What's the swap, man? We have talked through 5 or 6 of these mock draft scenarios, trade back with this team. If I'm the Carolina Panthers, I want to, when you're going to get a first round pick in exchange for this, you'd like an earlier second round pick. And if you throw in a third, if you throw in a pick next year or a 4th, I'm all for it. And there's a lot of good scenarios with teams, the Indianapolis, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Seattle Seahawks, a lot of teams, Chicago Bears. You know, it was funny. Gridiron Star, or I can't remember, sorry, the account, because I was doing a lot of stuff today. He was tweeting out to me How would you feel if the Chicago Bears wanted to move up and in exchange for moving up, they offered DJ Moore? I looked it up. It would technically be possible because it has been 2 years since he was traded. So he could be traded back to the original team. That would be insane to have DJ Moore back on top of, and this is like, dude, this is just me just speculating. Like, this is nowhere near a thing. Just imagine that, though. DJ Moore back in Carolina. Cam Newton now reuniting, seems to be happy with everything that's going on. It's a wild time, folks. All right, let's refresh Adam Schefter's feed here. Pete Carroll, a new running back. There you go. Ashton Jeanty for your Las Vegas Raiders, folks. All right, Panthers have a decision to make. We're going to slide the board up here because you guys need to see it refreshed. I'm sorry that I'm like bouncing between prospects and things. Ashton Jeanty off the board. This leaves the Jets. All right, let's refresh Adam to find out exactly what is happening as we navigate this. I'm giving myself a second to take a breather. Let's see what else we have brewing. I probably should have other folks pulled in too, but we'll see. I hope the Panthers get a nice haul. Carolina Panthers need bodies. And I have said this from the very beginning. Now, we are looking at a situation where Tet McMillan, Jalen Walker, Walter Nolan, Michael Williams available. Do the Carolina Panthers value one player over the possibility of trading back? The clock is ticking. That's the other thing, man. You look at just the state of this with the Jets on the clock. You got to have this thing in motion. And we know these conversations are already happening, have been happening, fielding the calls, but man, time's running out. Like it is close, folks. Let's take a water break here. Again, if you guys are here, I'd appreciate it. If you're on YouTube, all you have to do is hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're a Panthers fan, maybe you're a fan of the NFL, I would appreciate the support. It does help us grow, all that fun stuff. If you're watching on, let's actually get this queued up for you guys. If you are watching directly on X, you can comment on the feed there, or Instagram. We are going live on Instagram. I am about 20 minutes late on Instagram going live, but that's okay. We're here. All right, let's get back into Adam Schefter's feed. Nothing yet. I'm trying to keep this updated too for you guys. It's a lot happening. It is a very busy night. Very early, very busy for these guys. So Daniel Jeremiah's best available. Ashton Jeanty just off the board. That leaves Jalen Walker. And you know what? Mambu out of Missouri, we have not talked about for the Panthers. Tyler Warren, we have not talked about. We have talked about T-Mac, who does not want to go by Tet. So T-Mac, a.k.a. Tatoria McMillan, if I can talk. Jalen Walker. It's going to be interesting. I am curious. It feels like the Panthers hopefully are going to get a pick. And let me go back. I had a few picks, you guys. I'm going to share this very quickly, and we'll hop back so we can see the trade. Down here at the bottom, we had a few trades through mock simulation this week. We had trading back with Arizona for 16 and 47, trading with Cincy for 17 and 49, Seattle. Sorry, this thing is blocking on my side. Oh my gosh, terrible timing. 18, 50, and 82. Indianapolis for 14 and 44, sorry. And a huge trade with Buffalo, but that's too far back, and that one's likely not going to be the case. Let's go back and share this and give it a second to run. Still waiting. Jets officially on the clock. Let's get this back up here so you guys can see the live draft IQ board presented by Amazon Next Gen Stats. No, they're not a sponsor. It's happening though. I'm going to pull up just to see if there's anything additional happening out here in the feed. See what's going out on this side. Oh, Panthers are officially on the clock. So who was just picked? We got to refresh, and I missed it. Maybe Adams got it. Or did the Panthers trade? Sorry, this is like a little bit delayed because I can't get into the live stream. Let's see. Jets. We'll refresh it. What? Okay. We're waiting to find out what the heck is going on here. No news on the Adam Schefter account, but the Carolina Panthers account tweeted that they are on the clock. So I assume that the pick is coming in for the Jets. Minutes after drafting Abdul Carter, Giants GM said his team is picking up Kayvon Thibodeau's fifth-year option. That's another thing. Are the Carolina Panthers going to pick up the fifth-year option for Ike Ekwonu? Up in the air. Let's see. Okay, why are we not getting an update? Maybe they're on a commercial break. It's part of the fun of doing all this. Go back to the live stream over here, see what we got going on. But the Panthers are on the clock, dude. They've been on the clock for 2 minutes. Are they staying here? Eyeball emoji. I mean, I'm waiting to find out. If you guys know, drop a comment. See what's happening out there. All right, let's go back on here. Still nothing. The wait is killing me. It honestly is. It sucks because the ESPN radio feed is behind. So I don't know what's happening. Like and it's no use for me to listen. Like I'm better off just waiting for this to pop up through a tweet and figure it out. But nope. Things are just mulling around as we get through this, which slowly but surely. I'm reading through. So Joe Person, of course, of The Athletic, covers Carolina Panthers. If they take Tyler Warren or an offensive tackle, Panthers can draft Jalen Walker or trade down. I mean, this is, or to Torrey McMillan. We'll see. All right, let's refresh. I'll keep checking Adam. It's got to be coming in. There's no way the Panthers are this far. I hope there's a trade coming through, but man, taking their time. Like, what are we? How about we check out the NFL account, see if there's any news that's popped up on here. No, they're just tweeting out random stuff. There's not random stuff. They're all tweeting out NFL content. It's going to get here, folks. I'm just waiting for Adam Schefter to say there's been a trade. Carolina Panthers trading back. Please, for the love of the Carolina Panthers, give us a trade back scenario. I will be fine with whatever they decide. I would just much rather prefer, like, somebody's got to be scared thinking that New Orleans is going to draft a quarterback. That's what we have to be banking on right now. What are we going to get the pick at, like 9 o'clock? Has to be. And then the Carolina Panthers are already going to be locked in with whatever's happening. Could go out and look at a few other folks. No. Slow and steady out here tonight. Let's check our other reputable ESPN, or not ESPN, but sources out here. Ian Rappaport, what you got, man? Oh, they get, yes, Armand Membu going to the Jets. So the Carolina Panthers, I don't know that this is a dream scenario for the Carolina Panthers. Let's refresh this for you guys. I don't know if it's a dream scenario, but if you're a fan of Jalen Walker, he is available. Jalen Walker, Tyler Warren, Michael Williams, T-Mac McMillan, Walter Nolan on the board. Matthew Golden, if he's your guy. Nick Emanwari, safety. All right, let's see. I am not seeing any news about a trade. The clock is ticking. It's got to be close to being done. And again, Ian Rappaport sharing the news about Armand Membou out of Missouri. Nice pickup. That was one of the things that, fans or people talked about the Carolina Panthers potentially drafting out an offensive tackle. I don't think it would have been this early, though. NFL is slacking, getting us updated here. That's okay. We got a good idea. Jalen Walker. I'm interested, man. There has been no news. I hope Adam Schefter's fielding a bunch of phone calls to get nothing. Jets head coach Aaron Glenn had a 45-minute FaceTime call this week with Missouri offensive tackle Armand Membou that sealed New York's decision about who to draft in round 1. He becomes Glenn's first pick as head coach. All right, what I should be doing is following the Panthers account because I'm sure they're going to tweet out that the pick is in. And I'm going to be a little bit sad, but you know what? And the Panthers, the pick is in, folks. The Carolina Panthers pick is in per their account. I'm sure it's going to leak any minute. And we are going to know who the Carolina Panthers are taking. Doesn't sound like a trade back. So in this situation, Carolina Panthers staying put with where they are. So many mock drafts, so many conversations about who the Panthers should take. I'm excited to see where this plays out. We're going to stay on live. We're going to keep streaming the remainder just to see exactly what's happening out here. Panthers swing. Let's see. We'll go to Ian Rappaport, see if he's got any news for us coming through. Nothing. So the Panthers fielded calls, and again, I'm not listening, so I don't know any of the dialogue that's happening out there. I'd assume that whatever calls they fielded, I guess they didn't get the offer that they would have liked. It's what it would seem like, but it's all good. We're going to know in just a minute. And the board needs to be updated out here. I'm going to have to pick a new source if we can't get Amazon, AWS, QuickSight. There we go. The board is updated. And like we said, Jalen Walker, Mykel Williams, Walter Nolan, who's your guy? Tyler Warren. It feels like the pick is Jalen Walker, possibly Walter Nolan. The writing's been on the wall for the Carolina Panthers. Actually, I want to make sure I stop rambling, and I'm here to see the pick as we get the news. So I'm keeping all my accounts refreshed over here. I don't know that there could really be a surprise pick here with where we sit. Panthers fans waiting to find out what is going to happen. I am a little surprised, but not officially that the Panthers. Let's refresh this, folks. Make sure we get this up to date for you guys. It's like I'm a game bouncing between these 3 tabs here, trying to figure out what's going on, who's picking what, waiting for the insiders to tell us who is it going to be. Nothing yet. So the game continues. Yep, Trey Boston of the Carolina Panthers, former Panther. Everyone feels like this is it. Oh, they drafted T-Mac. He's going to Carolina. All this talk. They passed. Now, I don't know. This is Joe Person of The Athletic who tweeted this out. Good poker faces from Dan Morgan and Dave Canales, both of whom said in recent weeks they were going good with the wide receiver core. They draft Tatora, McMillan, Tet McMillan, T-Mac. Oh, my gosh. Let's refresh. I want to see it officially come through the big accounts. That was Joe Person 2 minutes ago. Oh, man. there you have it. All of the talk about defense. Sorry, guys. Let's get this board back up here. Let's refresh it. Actually, let's also do. That's the only problem about when you stream this stuff is you can't get it. So a little bit of delay, and then we'll be able to kind of slow down a little bit. There you go. It's officially official. Man, all those mock draft. Guess what, folks? First mock draft. First mock draft, the seven mock draft mania madness that we did. We had right here T-Mac. I guess I gotta start saying T-Mac. Bryce Young gets a weapon, folks. This makes so much sense for the Carolina Panthers. As much as defense mattered, as much as trading back mattered for the Carolina Panthers, this is the pick, man. A lot of people fluctuating on where he sits. Now, this was a decision. This was a big decision for the Panthers, if you think about this, because guess what? They spent a first-round draft pick on a wide receiver last year, Xavier Legette. Quite a decision to make. I do think when you look at this that we are talking about a situation where Tet could or should potentially come in and be your number one target. We're going to find out. Got to work through this thing another year with XL. Maybe he's just in the rotation. But the size alone. And so we also hear this from Ian Rappaport. He's been quietly throwing with quarterback Bryce Young in LA. So these guys have been working out. It's been brewing. I don't even know prospect-wise, or I guess rules-wise, what you can and cannot do, but whatever, we'll take it. So off the board, I am a little surprised. Like, to everyone's point, they talked so much about the wide receiver room and the fact that they felt good about it, constantly telling us that they were okay. And they go out and they get a wide receiver. It's exciting, man. The wide receiver room needed it. I don't know how many people followed along as we were looking at the state of the roster. I'll try to pull it back up. Of course, we'll keep this pulled in. Oh, yeah. What's good? Defense. It is, I don't know. Panthers choosing to go with offense. It's wild, man. I actually need to stay tuned in now. A lot of people, I'm curious what the New Orleans Saints are going to do. So now if you look at the big board, so Jalen Walker still there, falling down a little bit. And again, folks, I don't have the live audio playing, so I don't know what's being talked about on the broadcast or anything like that. You'd have to assume that Jalen Walker fell, at least from the Panther standpoint, probably because of his size. You also have to remember that all this talk about Jalen Walker was driven by the media. Like, the media portrayed the image. Like, you have to remember the people asking the questions are in Dan Morgan, Dave Canales are going to be the ones answering it. I don't know. That, to me, though, I personally, and again, I'm not hearing, so I don't know what the trade offers look like. We know the Carolina Panthers were fielding calls. A trade back scenario would have been much nicer, in my opinion. You probably need another 2 to 3 pieces on defense. You get a wide receiver. The Carolina Panthers, as of now, not picking until pick 57. There is still a possibility they could package something together to look ahead to moving earlier into the second round, or they may be content with the fact that they have 8 more picks to go in the draft. But let's go out, because I've been nonstop talking about the Panthers. I mean, this is who we talk about here. Seeing more information's flowing through. Nothing for Ian Rappaport. Let's go back and check on Adam Schefter, see if he had any bits of information. I'm not seeing any. Panthers keep the pick. Would have loved it. But you know what? We can go back here. Way back when, First mock draft we did. We'll throw it up if I can find it. Oh, no, I deleted it. Of course I deleted it. I had all my graphics together. No, I didn't. Look at this. You know what? We don't even have to edit this, folks. It's already done. If you followed my mock drafts, it's already done. I told you a week ago, round 1, pick 8, Tet McMillan. There it is, folks. No edits, updates needed. I'm actually going to post this on X now so we have it out there for the world, but let's get you back caught up on the draft. I know Nolan, we were watching the first few picks. We're waiting for the ball. Well, I'm curious if he's going to stay up to watch the Baltimore Ravens pick. I'm trying to refresh here too as we get this caught up on my side. You know what we can do to make things a little bit cooler on our side? For me personally, let's try throwing a little bit of music on behind this. Might be too loud. Y'all let me know. You can have some music on behind this. Why not? Let's refresh here. I am a little surprised, though. I mean, to be honest, even though we've talked about it first, I mean, I don't know if you consider Travis Hunter wide receiver, cornerback, but either the first wide receiver off the board in your mind or the second wide receiver. Just depends on, again, how you view Travis Hunter. New Orleans Saints pick's going to be an interesting one. Let's go out to Ian Rappaport. See if he's got any news coming through. Oh, wow. They stick with the pick and draft. Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle. Let's go. I only say let's go. I'm a Panthers fan. I hate the Saints. That's how we do this thing. But this is an opportunity potentially for Spencer Rattler. And I'm high on him. Got my biases. I know it. I don't care. I'd love for him to be successful there in New Orleans, and this is an opportunity. Spencer Rattler has shown flashes. I think with Kellen Moore coming in, good opportunity for him, assuming that Derek Carr is out for whatever, an extended period of time. Go ahead and build for the foundation, build for the future, give Spencer Rattler a chance. I swear I see it. Or maybe they're going to be in the running for Aaron Rodgers. Wild times, man. Let's see if there's been any updates from the official Carolina Panthers website. Not website, but okay, in the moment he was drafted. There you go. Tet was, or T-Mac was in attendance, which, I mean, you guys are probably out there watching it as well, so you could see it. I mean, you look at the size, 6'4", 4.5 40, so not the fastest. You know that, but good opportunity for the Panthers when we talk about their wide receiver room, which I think I deleted that. No, I didn't delete that graphic. We can quickly pull that up as well. The Panthers, when you looked at this, they talked a lot about drafting the best available player. They also talked a lot about drafting on the defensive side of the ball, that being a big need. But we also heard Brant Tillis saying they were trying to put the roster in position so that they could play a game before the NFL draft and really actually go out and draft whoever they wanted. Could have been a Tyler Warren, could have been a Jalen Walker, but they go with Tet. We're going to share this really quick, and we'll go back to the draft. So you look at the Carolina Panthers offense. I've, of course, not added in Tet McMillan. We'll do that. But the state of the offense, you are talking about an offense that's bringing back, I'm not a math person, but 95%, roughly 95% of their offense from last year. An offense that went from 13 points per game in Bryce Young's first year to 20 points per game in his second year. We saw the big improvements down the stretch. All of that with the same group you have here. Jalen Coker, XL, Adam Thielen, David Moore. You throw Ted McMillan into the mix, along with Chuba Hubbard, along with Rico Dowdle, who you brought in, go Gamecocks, brought over from the Cowboys. You have the same offensive line in place. I think the Panthers now don't have to worry to a certain extent. Like, they've got enough. You don't have to worry about a trade, trading out for a wide receiver. Like, your offense is here. You have the reliable target in David Moore. So in general, I feel much better about the offense. Now we got to focus on defense. There's still gaps on the defensive side of the ball for the Panthers. We're going to get back to the big board in just a minute. Safety still needs some depth there. Cornerback position, like you look outside of Mike Jackson, J.C. Horn, needs some help, primarily at the nickel too. And then outside linebacker, edge. We're still going to need that, but this is a deep draft class. Same thing on the defensive side of the ball. You know what? Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's hop back in so we can keep this thing updated for you guys and for myself. Chicago Bears. On the clock, you still have Jalen Walker. So Jalen Walker, this is Daniel Jeremiah's big board, seems to be the player that's maybe fallen the most. But it's funny because the next gen stat score only has him ranked 80. His athleticism, he's a good player. I think the size factor, if you have a hybrid player, you have to have a really good defensive scheme. Watch him fall all the way to a team like the Eagles or Lions or Baltimore, or someone that actually could use him and move him around, Tampa Bay. But when you have a player like Jalen Walker, you got to have a really good defense around him if you are going to have him as a chess piece that you can move around. So curious to see out of the tight ends if Tyler Warren goes before Colston Loveland. Still, I guess, again, you'd count Travis Hunter as the first defensive back taken off cornerback, but Johnny Barron's still available. We really like Jahad Campbell out of Alabama. Omarion Hampton still on the board. Matthew Golden, Nick Emanwari, who I'd hoped the Panthers would snag, but probably not going to be possible. Let's get it updated here for you guys. As I say that, Colston Loveland off the board to the Chicago Bears. So we have another little bit of a slip. It's not much, but I just said, who's going to be first, Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland? And there you have it. A lot of folks, I think, and I was one of them, I'm a big fan of Tyler Warren, but the draft guys that I guess are smarter than me, valued Colston Loveland more. And a lot of mocks, a lot of people said he was a better prospect overall, and we get to see it play out. Good connection for Caleb Williams, too, to have theirs. Can't do anything wrong with that. Let's refresh out here. I don't think there's been really any other. Saints have big-time quarterback questions, but select a player who protects against the snap. Oh, well, in case you needed more content to come, the NFL announced that the schedule will be released on May 14th. We already know the opponents. We already know the opponents for the next 2 to 3 years. Most of them, but now you get to go out. We do have a live press conference now from Dan Morgan. I am not pulling that up on this side, but I'll go and listen to it after the fact and get to hear Dan Morgan's reaction. Actually, you know what we're going to try? I'm going to see if we can play this for you guys. We're going to, for those that are following the NFL draft, if you're just a general NFL draft person, meaning just following it to follow, we'll still keep tabs on everything that's happening on here. But let's pause this. We're going to hop over to the Dan Morgan presser in just a second. T-Mac is from Hawaii, played at Arizona, going to move to Charlotte, 4 time zones and 4,600 miles away. Yeah, that's a big change. Like, it absolutely is. Wide receiver going to quarterback. That's not a deep threat passer. If you needed a connection for Bryce Young, pick was tight end. I liked Warren too. I agree. Yep. Oh, they'll definitely get killed for not taking a defensive selection. We are going to switch. I'm going to try to play this audio for you guys. We'll get it queued up. Let's do it this way. We're going to hear what Dan Morgan has to say or had to say about the selection. Hopefully, if we can get this thing to work. Might not work. Might have to wait. Let's reload this. Try this again. Oh, well. We've got Canales up there too. All right, here we go. I'm going to mute myself while this goes through, and then we will get you guys updated on everything happening once this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, first of all, we're super excited about, our 8th pick, getting Tet. He's somebody that we obviously really liked.
I have to come off mute for this. What's up, Reverend Saul? I got to come off mute. So you have the general manager of your football team. So I've been going on rants on just some of the stupid stuff the Panthers do. General manager of your football team that just selected a player. The player has said, gone on record, that he does not go by Tet. And you have your GM coming right out of the gate. And it go back, he said this right before the draft and all the pre-draft stuff tonight. He said, I don't know where Tet came from. I go by T-Mac or Tatoria, whatever. He goes by his full name. And your general manager just coming in, oh, yeah, Tet. It's about as bad as what they did yesterday. I guess it was yesterday. Not letting Derek Brown know that training camp wasn't going to be in Charlotte. Anyways, whatever. We'll let this run. Give 1 second. We'll get back on here.
Thought he could really add a different dimension to our offense and just add another playmaker to the offensive side of the ball. So not only a great player, but, he's a great kid and somebody that Dave and I really value. So we're excited to have him in the building and excited to get going with him.
Can you tell us about some of the calls that you were fielding? We heard that you were fielding some calls for that number 8 pick.
Yeah, we did.
Good question. That was what I was wondering to figure out what kind of offer did they have on the board. So we'll hear.
We had a few calls. Obviously, you entertain everything, and at the end of it, we wanted to get our guy, and we're excited about it.
What wide receiver at this point versus defense, which you said was a big
Yes. Y'all can rag on David Newton all you want. He's asking, why in the hell are you drafting a wide receiver after you spent all this time talking about defense? Let's keep it going.
coming in the offseason.
Yeah, and it's still a need, and we have 8 more picks. So
problem is the bulk of what you need is here and now in round 1, or you needed to trade back. You're now going to have to wait until pick 57, unless you have some magic up your sleeve. It's great to put up points. Just ask the Cincinnati Bengals, ask the Miami Dolphins. But if you do not have a defense that can stop the other side of the ball, you're not going to get too far. I don't know. I'm not going to not like the pick, but defense would have been nice. All right, anyways.
So we wanted to add the best player. We wanted to follow our board of who we thought, was going to help us the most up there. So, again, we got our guy, and we're excited about it.
You said
got their guy 1 year after getting their guy with Xavier Legette. Just saying. you got your wide receiver last year, anyways.
Yeah, it's a different dimension, actually, for both of you guys. What is that dimension? And is there any concern? Was there any concern about kind of his lack of like elite speed?
Yeah, I think he has really good play speed. I think the thing that pops off the tape about Ted is just how smooth he is, his body control, his ability to adjust to all types of throws, his catch radius, and his hands are elite. He catches everything outside his frame, and he can win the jump ball down the field and in the red zone. He's a guy that has 18 touchdowns the past 2 years. So he puts the ball in the end zone, and obviously that's something that we want to do.
Dave, do you view him as a day one impact starter?
Absolutely. He's going to have to work for it. He certainly, comes in just like everybody else, and comes into a talented group. Probably.
It is talented, but I don't know how if we're stacking it that high. That is the question, though. You're going to have a battle, which I know they talk about wanting competition. That's what they preach and breathe here. But anyways,
the thing I'm most excited about is just the further we dug in, the pro day, all the postseason work, just getting to know the guy, spending time with him. We had him here on a 30 visit, to be able to spend a little bit more time. And
also cannot wait to have someone in the media either ask here or ask at some point, ask him to T-Mac about the clip that leaked of him not watching film. I just can't wait because I feel like it's gonna happen anyway.
I mean, just making sure that he was the right fit for our team. The type of players we're looking for. They love playing ball. They love to work on their craft. And it really shows up. When I just kind of Dan and I just the last couple of days, as we're getting ready for this pick, we're just like nitpicking and so I put my receiver coach hat on, and just watched his pro day and watched his just his route craft, the way that he can reduce his surface in the top of routes as a 6'4" guy, the way he comes back to the ball, some of the things that you look for as a great.
I will tell you, if you're a Panthers fan, that is one positive about this situation. Dave Canales has been coaching wide receivers in the NFL for 10 years. So pretty good at evaluating, I would think. So maybe we'll look at it from that side as well.
Great starting point for a receiver, and so, giving us that good size element, the red zone target, a lot of things to be excited about, so something that was really cool for us to just come together on and kind of knew, like, unless somebody blew us out of the water with something, we weren't going to let our guy pass. And so it was a great moment for us.
The additions that you guys are able to add on the defensive side of the ball in free agency, how much did that impact your draft board?
I mean, you certainly take it all into consideration, but like Dan said, we follow the board. You rank the players how you like them and where the talent's at, and so you just stay true to it. And it comes right to you. Some of those picks right before us, really thought, the fifth pick was a big moment for us. Kind of like what was going to happen here that was going to help us get our guy at that point. And so, with Cleveland taking Mason Graham right there in that spot, the board kind of felt like Ted's going to make it, and we're holding our breath right there, for a couple more picks, but really excited about that.
You guys as a program have preached size and length. Obviously, McMillan fits those molds. I'm just curious, how does he fit into like the wide receiver room from a complementary standpoint outside of those attributes?
Yeah, shoot, you got like a basketball team going on right now. There's different attributes, and Xavier, the power and speed he brings, Thielen's craftsmanship. You saw Jalen Coker come on strong last year. Tet all of a sudden brings in this really long, 6'4" target to kind of round out the group. So, it's a really cool group to think about. And I mean, obviously, like right off the bat, Brad and Rob come down the hall, and I'm like, all right, boys, here we go. And so pretty exciting.
I know I harp on this point a lot, but you're a former wide receivers coach. Brad's a former wide receivers coach. Rob, all of his accolades. You guys have invested so heavily in wide receiver. From a developmental standpoint, how much pressure does that put on you guys to kind of deliver and make that group kind of ascend?
I love that. I love for the pressure to be on us to utilize these guys with their talents, the unique abilities they have, to fit them into the core of our schemes, to continue to find out who we are and to find that identity, in the pass game. And then, of course, just from a team standpoint, just getting football players, getting dogs, getting playmakers. And we really felt like we got that in Ted.
How much did just the way Bryce finished?
Hey, y'all, if you are tuned in, we are listening to the press conference with Dan Morgan, Dave Canales on this election at Pick 8. We will get back into the NFL draft if you're here for larger NFL draft content, but we're going to keep running this for now.
The season and seeing that uptick, how much did that go into like saying, look, we got defensive needs, but we got to get this quarterback another weapon?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it's and for Dan as well, we got to do what's best for the team, and the best thing we can do is to evaluate our board to stay true to where we have guys at. And when you really like have conviction about a player and they come to you, the alternatives, like the trade alternatives and all those things, they got to like blow you out of the water, to pass up on all the work that's been done, not just, myself and Dan, but his whole staff, my staff as well, just looking at these guys and being able to evaluate them and so that it's a collective decision so that we all go into this thing with a commitment to make the Panthers better.
You guys both had said individually this.
If you guys are tuned in, I'm pausing this for 1 second. So looking out at the draft, you may be watching that already. We talked about Colston Loveland to the Bears. Mikel Williams, Georgia, outside linebacker, going to San Francisco. That's a really good landing spot for him. So someone, again, that was also, at least initially, talked about with the Carolina Panthers.
This offseason that you were good with the receiver group you have. Clearly, you felt it needed another piece, though.
No, I wouldn't so much say that. I mean, I just think, again, like you follow your board and you take the best players, and Ted was high on our board. We obviously felt really good about him, and he was there for the taking, so we didn't want to pass up on a good player.
Was there a particular moment where you guys looked at each other and said, okay, this is our guy?
I felt like it was about like every time we watched them, we're just like, another great catch, and just.
I don't care if they look at each other and say that's their guy, as long as they don't talk about proposing. That's what Frank Wright and Scott Fitter are talking about. God.
The way that he just it's effortless, that the way he catches the ball, and he catches everything outside his frame, and he's just
one thing, we're going to do a video series on this, and I brought it up last night in the stream. And folks, if you are in the comments too, I'll get back to you guys. I'm not ignoring you. I only have one screen I'm working with right now. But I went back and looked over the last 20 seasons, the team that finished last in points allowed year one, how did they pan out in year two? Last 20 years, only 3 teams have made the playoffs after going from the worst team as far as points allowed per game in the NFL to first to make the playoffs. Excuse me, if I can talk correctly. Defense, like, I understand the offense. Like, I'm not going to say that I don't like this pick, but if we get out here and Ejiro Evero does not turn this thing around, and maybe that's the whole point. It's like Evero's going to be out of here anyways. We don't know what the defensive scheme and philosophy is going to be potentially next year. I don't know. We're going to get you guys. Let's actually keep this running so I don't take too much of your time watching this and we can get to the draft.
Great receiver that is super fluid. His body control is some of the best I've seen in a while. So, yeah, he's exciting.
And the one thing that I really learned from Dan just through the process is the biggest challenge, which is all still new to me as a head coach, is to get into the horizontal comparisons of offensive players versus defensive players. And when you start looking player for player and the dynamic way that they move, the dynamic way they play, and having to try to compare them across different positions, apples to oranges, was really kind of where we came back in the process and kept putting him on. And then you're like really excited and you almost can't turn the tape off. So it's like it stood out, in such a special way that, he made the decision easy for us. Yeah.
You guys 2 years in a row of wide receiver first round, you turn it into an offensive guy there?
No,
Yep. Called it. Panthers also, to go out to NFL Draft IQ, talked about this yesterday. Let's pull up the stat. I'm not going to pull it up and share the screen. But on NFL Draft IQ, the Panthers have spent a league-high 7 picks on offensive skill positions on days 1 and days 2 since 2021. Where in the hell is that production? For a team that has spent that much draft capital on receivers that just haven't panned out, Terrace Marshall Jr., Jonathan Mingo, it's not a good look, man. You can't keep cycling through these guys. Now, we're all hoping and praying XL pins out. We're going to pray the T-Mac pins out. But I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm turning into a guy that just wants to bring good football players in here, and it's just another opportunity to bring a great player in here.
Is there a chance you're not done today?
No. Yeah. No, I think we're done. Yeah.
I was about to say, like, the way he said that made you think they're going to be trading back. Like, heck no.
I was like, no. I meant like, no, we're not.
When you look at last year's draft,
Your eyes got really big. Bob.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna be busy. When you look at the way you guys handled last year's draft, now that this first pick's in, what lessons can you possibly take from last year that you might apply now to day 2 and day 3?
Yeah, I think it's just going back, reassessing your board, and trying to figure out what guy is going to fall to us at 57, and then just kind of weighing the options of, hey, should we trade up? Should we stay where we're at? Should we trade back? So
yeah, still options trading up. Always a possibility. 57, you can still get a good defensive player. It's not going to be top tier, but you can still get an impactful player. Panthers have a lot of draft capital between rounds 2, 3, and 4, which we know tomorrow is just 2 and 3 with 2 picks. So we'll see.
So, I just think all options are on the table again, right? With this second pick, and we're just going to attack it, and we're going to follow the board.
Did you have traded back? Did you have like a
we had a lot of people sniffing around. I think it would have had to be something above and beyond, for us to kind of pull off this pick. But yeah, that's where we were.
So you had some good conversations leading up to the draft with him. Can you talk about the cultural fit that he might be with this team?
Yeah, I mean, and then speaking to just kind of like the lessons learned from one year to the next, we look at the guys that we brought in last year, and they fit the profile of what we want for Panthers football players. And so that's really that commitment, kind of looking at the guys that just like, the more that we watched him, the more that, you see the different parts of his craft show up. You can tell it's a guy that works on it a lot. For a 6'4" guy to be able to reduce at the top of his routes the way he does, that takes work, and his speed cuts and all those things that you just kind of see somebody that's working on his game. And so I think just, taking a note out of that and just knowing that we're getting another person that fits into what we're trying to do. And the guy's a baller, and that's like, there's a simple way to look at it. You watch film and the ballers show up, and they make plays in big moments, and they're always looking to do something special.
For one of you, the defense had historical struggles last year. With the offensive wide receiver group, you have 2 guys already above 6 foot, 6'3". What would you say to the fans about what you believe about this defense, not taking a pick in the defensive side of the ball this early in the draft? What would your message to the fans be about what you believe about this defense?
I'll go first. Same thing. We're trying to do the best thing for the Panthers, and that's our commitment. Is if we can stay true to our evaluation process.
Well, for the love of us, I hope that Ejiro Evero learns how to coach. I hope that we're healthy and all these new additions pan out.
The board, be disciplined about that over time. We'll select the players that we have conviction on, that we're all on the same page with, all on the same board. All on board with, to make those choices, and so I think the consistency of the players that we're looking for is what we're after, and I think that, it's been said, in different ways, like if you start to chase needs and you're not just being true to your process and true to the players that come to you and the ones you have belief in, I think that, sometimes that you can, get yourself a little bit out of whack and not in alignment for what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and we did attack our defensive needs through free agency, and again, we have eight picks left, and our board has a lot of defensive guys on there as well. So, it's definitely not something that we're going to neglect.
don't think you answered this already. Apologize if you did, but have you communicated with Bryce yet about this? And if
Oh,
so, what
yeah.
he said?
Right away. We got him on speakerphone and talked to Bryce. He's fired up. So another Southern California guy, you know, they kind of played, they were in different times, but Servite High School, Mater Dei are rivals, you know, and they're kind of in the same area. So there's no love lost there, you know, but you know, I think for the culture of what we're trying to do, that part is just a bonus, you know.
And a little bit similar question, but do you, on something like this, do you communicate to Xavier Legette, who might feel a little threatened by this?
Not right now. Right now, we're celebrating this moment with our guys, and you know,
Competition is real.
when Ted gets here, you know, well, again, tomorrow will be an opportunity. He'll be in here at some point, you know, so I'm sure, you know, the fans will be able to meet him at some point tomorrow. But you know, right now it's just about celebrating this moment, and when he comes in here, you know, he's a Panther. He's one of us.
Have an indictment of Legette and his early development.
No, I mean, Xavier, he wants to win, you know, and that's all Xavier cares about. Just kind of going back to that question, you know, Xavier wants to win, and he's hungry to, you know, to go out there and compete and, you know, show up big this year. And I know he's been working his butt off, and we're excited about him, and we're excited about the team and the direction that we're headed.
All right. Thank you.
See you guys.
What's good, y'all? Let's get it. Hold on, we're gonna take a second. Shoot. All right, let's run it in the background. Oh man, I'm gonna need something to drink here in a second. Oh man, the chat is going crazy. I don't even know if we'll be able to catch up with that. Oh, Tepper. Wild times, man. I will say I was going back. I always have to go back and look. We're gonna get the draft board pulled up back in a second. I hate the I gotta move the camera down, but I don't have the stand for it. It's fine. I went back all the way to. Let's try to present this. All the way back January 12th. What does that say? Why the Panthers should consider Tet McMillan at pick number 8. This is when people are talking about playoffs. This is when people are doing whatever the heck they're doing. January 12th. Let's see what we have. Let's refresh it. Hopefully you guys watch me. I don't know. The last one is the only, I guess, outside of Travis Hunter, who's not going to be available. The only wide receiver, offensive player that I would consider at pick number 8 for the Carolina Panthers, Tet McMillan, on my list. Yes, wide receiver out of Arizona. As we've discussed, I've made multiple videos about the Panthers needing a number 1 wide receiver. In the event they don't get a T. Higgins, they can't get a Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill, whoever, I think the Panthers have to consider drafting wide receiver. Well, straight from the words of my mouth, way back when. It's one of the nice things about posting so much stuff is you can go back and easily search exactly what's happening. We have the dog in here with me again tonight. She's chilling, so I had to make sure she's good. Wild times, man, all the way back in January. And to be honest, the very first Tet signing, and I'm going to keep calling him Tet until I get yelled at by him, was way back during the college football season. And I can't pull it up now. It's not going to work. Doesn't matter. But the funny thing, too, is to see some of the boards that had Todd McShay had T-Mac falling as the 50th ranked prospect. And I think that's part of the reason people just put out whatever they can to get clicks. But anyways, all right, let's go back on here. I had to. That was like wild. Every now and then I will do that. That was interesting. But hold on, let's pull back. up because you guys have missed some picks. I've missed some picks. All right, so Michael Williams off the board. Let me make sure that, okay, cool. We can still see things we want. Tyler Booker, guard. Oh, man, I got to see what my friend, the Dallas Cowboys fan, oh, man, what I got to remember his I see Tyler Warren going to the Colts, quarterback competition that they have going on there. I have to find, oh, man, I can't remember. Shane. I got to get his reaction because Shane McCormick, he's got the Fantasy Roadshow podcast. And I'm trying to see what he's got. I wanted to see his reaction. I don't know if it's pulling up. Anyways, he's been talking very heavily about wide receiver, about running back, a bunch of skill position needs for the Dallas Cowboys. I was curious to see how he's going to react to them drafting a guard. And defensive tackle, Kenneth Grant to the Miami Dolphins. We just talked about Tyler Warren to Penn State. Somebody's going to, Falcons now on the clock. They would be the team that scoops up Jalen Walker. Like I said, it's going to be someone. It's either going to be the Falcons or the Bucks that scoop him up. Maybe Cincinnati Bengals from a man Randy Slack. You're looking at the best available, still on the board, Jalen Walker. I think out of this group, I still like Jahad Campbell. You know I'm biased. I like Amari and Hampton. Curious to see if he slips into the second, only because it just depends on where people are valuing the running back position. So they have 4, or Daniel Jeremiah has 4. The Atlanta Falcons, Jalen Walker, Shamar Stewart, Jahdae Barron, Mike Green, Will Johnson, and Malachi Starks. Nick Emenwari still on the board too. South Carolina Gamecock safety, tested out really well. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. Have we had it? We haven't had a safety go off the board yet. So Loveland over Warren. It is the most Bears thing. It is I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest when I talk through NFL, I'm mostly Panthers. I like college football more. So I don't really keep up with all the other teams and what they're doing when it comes to the NFL, but it's a little bit of a weird pick for them. Let's get this back up here. Let's try this again. Put some music on in the background so I'm not just sitting in silence. I probably could do ESPN radio at this point now that things have simmered down and we could hear some insights into what's happening on there. Also, if you guys are tuned in and you are not a subscriber, I would appreciate it if you guys hit the subscribe button as always. Let's go out, and I need to get I closed out all my tabs with our good old NFL insiders here, so I need to get back in the loop with what's going on with the Falcons. Maybe they'll draft another quarterback. Maybe they'll add Shedeur Sanders to compete with Michael Penix, and they'll have Kirk Cousins on the roster. Never have too many quarterbacks. We got Adam up. Let's get Ian Rappaport pulled up as well. Shout out to my man T-Bone. Shout out to T-Bone he's not listening to me, but of WFNZ in Charlotte. He's not the only one who is upset about this pick. He said earlier before he posted 44 minutes ago, the only way he's coming in upset on Friday is if the Panthers take McMillan. I agree, man. I do as much as as wide receiver, as big of a need as it was. Reach may or may not be the right word, but the Panthers needed defense. Like, I still believe that firmly. I agree that, yes, maybe you want to help Bryce Young. You didn't get anything through a trade. The free agent market wasn't great. The defense was just so bad. And I don't know that I'm sold on the guys that they brought back. I don't know that I'm sold on the depth that's going to be there. You think about heading into next year with where things are today. Folks, DJ Johnson still here, but you're going to have Clowney, who's gone, more than likely, getting up in age. DJ Wonham, potentially, unless things pan out and he resigns. You just have Patrick Jones, still TBD what that's going to look like. I don't know, man. Defense would have been nice. Falcons get Jalen Walker. There you have it, folks. Carolina Panthers choose not to get the dynamic outside linebacker edge. Now they're labeling him as a defensive end for the Falcons scheme. That is exactly what's going to happen. He will be there to wreck the Carolina Panthers for the next 8 or 9 years. That's just how it's going to be. You got a defensive head coach of the Atlanta Falcons who's going to know how to use him. I mean, if you're a Falcons fan, you have to be excited about this pick. I think it's a really good pick, in my opinion, for them. I hate to see it. He is very good at spying the quarterback, too. I mean, there's a lot of upside. As much as I kind of doubted him because of his size, but I think it was really just like I didn't trust the Panthers being able to utilize him versus more of a true edge prospect to NFL size. But he's going to be in the division now. We knew it. Said Falcons or Tampa Bay was where this guy was going to fall. Oh, man. Fun times to be a Carolina Panthers fan, as it always is. Paul said, I told everyone that Jalen Walker would not be picked at 8. Yeah. Well, you definitely got it right, man. He fell down the board quite a bit. I mean, you think about where a lot of folks had him as top 5, top 6 prospect in a lot of area for most people. And he finally comes off the board at pick 15, and we are almost halfway through the NFL draft. I don't know that I'll live stream the whole thing with me talking because, man, it's a lot sitting on here. The funniest thing is my buddy's a Panthers fan. And I don't know. I gotta catch up with 2 folks. One buddy is a Green Bay Packers fan, so he's of course excited to have this in Green Bay. I just asked him. He was talking to me about Tet, and then another friend down the street is a Panthers fan, and he's like, "What the heck?" It's like, "What did we just do?" I was gonna say the funny thing is, my wife's not a big football fan, but she was with our friends across the street. Well, her friend across the street, and her friend's mom is a football fan. And so they went out, and her friend's mom talked them into going somewhere so that they could watch the draft. But the friend across, like her mom's, the mom's friend, or wait, I'm not saying that right. My wife's friend's mom, let's get the correct order here, is a Chiefs fan. So I don't know if they're planning to stay out for the whole thing. Like, I don't think if my wife understands that this thing will go till midnight, but I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Also going to see if Nolan's going to be able to make it all the way to pick 27. I will tell you, and I've talked about it, you guys know last year I tapped out. Jalen Walker becomes the first player from the University of Georgia that the Falcons have taken in the first or second round. Okay, I thought this was going to be a really cool stat. reported by Phil Yates, since 1966. Okay. That's such a random stat. Whatever. Let's get back into. That's the thing about being on here on live stream, trying to keep up with this too, is like we have Ted McMillan going live. I guess I can hop over there in a second. I'm going to share. Did it already happen? It did. It looks like it's a very short press conference for Ted McMillan that I will. Let me pause this. We'll hop over here what he had to say. It looks like it's still going right now. Just give me a second, then we'll hop back in. Exactly. I mean, the dude can play football. Dog wants to go out. Hold on one sec. I'm still here, but we're gonna let the dog. That's the thing, man. He is a football player, which is what the Carolina Panthers need, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I follow a guy that covers Tampa Bay, and he did talk about Walker a little bit. Oh, man. Leave it to the Panthers fan to never be happy with the first round pick. Not a fan of losing. Nope. It's the norm. It is the norm. Let's stop this one. Let's stop the music again, too, behind this. Sorry, folks. Let's hop over to the Ted McMillan presser. Actually, let's make sure I share it with you guys. Try to get that pulled up. All right, let's see what we got.
Your audio's kind of cutting in and out, Ted. First of all, this is just like a work Zoom call. So what the heck is going on? Well, I guess they're trying to figure out how to work technology. Let's fast forward. Do we have an update? Are we still waiting? Okay, maybe it hasn't started still. That's wonderful. They're still waiting, so I guess we're going to have to pause this as they sort through their technology issues. And if we're still in the stream and it's still on there, if they get that thing figured out, then we can hop back over. Arizona Cardinals. Walter Nolan. Oh, well, if he was your dream or you thought the Panthers would have a chance to get him, which I don't think many would. Everybody looked at him as a guy going in the first round. You have two defensive players off the board. Heavy defense. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's not as much defense as I thought. 4, 5, 6, 7 defensive players to 9 offense within the first 16 picks. Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock. I feel like they have to go defense, considering everything that's going on. They do have some edge prospects available. The only thing I hate about this is there's not really a... Let's see what else we got here. This is pretty cool. We'll go look at the Panthers on this in a second. Oh, let's sort by draft order. First round cheat sheet. That's cool. Big board. This isn't great to assist. Oh, there you go. We have AI. We can go out here and chat GPT through Amazon a question about the draft. Here we go. We're going to do it. Watch this. Why did the Panthers draft Tet McMillan? What is AI going to say about this? We're going to find out. Did you know Mr. Irrelevant is the name? Yes, we did. I'm going to see what NFL Draft IQ Assistant has to say about the Carolina Panthers selection. Hey, one of the first questions, are the Panthers more likely to pick Jalen Walker or Michael Williams? Well, they're not likely to pick either. All right. And the response, they selected him with the 8th pick. He's a talented wide receiver from Arizona who received a first-round grade of 6.53, demonstrated strong production. The selection aligns with the Panthers' needs as wide receiver was listed among their needs in the draft. They've shown a tendency to invest heavily in offense. We talked about this, having spent their 7 picks on day one. I mean, you throw in Jonathan Brooks, too, last year. Tet McMillan, a wide receiver, they had him ranked very high on their board. How in the world did they have this insight? The Panthers selected him because they had him ranked high on their board, 5th overall. So is Amazon HQ, whatever this is, getting insight into draft boards for them to know that? All right. Why didn't the Panthers draft defense? Give me an answer. I'm being stupid. This is you give me something, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun with it. We are going to go back to the Panthers page in just a second, and on the it's insufficient information to explain why they didn't select a defensive player. Yeah, insufficient, just like the Panthers. I just kid. All right, let's go back to the team profile for the Carolina Panthers. Let's see what's on here. We already looked at this. So team needs edge, safety, cornerback, wide receiver, D-line. Edge is off the board. You looked at the mock drafts. Again, a lot of people, Mason Graham, Jalen Walker, Mason Graham, Jalen Walker, Jalen Walker, Jalen Walker. The odds via DraftKings, if you're a sports betting person, 70% in favor of drafting defense, 12% to a wide receiver, 5% to a tight end. Yeah. Wild times. Anyways, all right, let's go back, see what's happening. I'm going to check on the Tet McMillan press conference here in a second and see if it's actually working. Oh, okay, yeah, Walter Nolan's the last pick that came through. Let's see if this is... All right, looks like maybe technology has been sorted out. We figured out how to use Zoom. All right, let's share this. And we'll listen to what they have. It should be short, but we'll figure it out.
We will kick it off with Sheena, and then we will go to Darren, followed by Alex and Steve Reed.
Cool.
Well, let's try this thing again. T-Mac, welcome to the Carolinas. Can you walk us through the emotions as you took that phone call?
Yeah, man, I just feel, just relief, just finally knowing what team I get to play for. Man, I'm just blessed. I'm super grateful for this opportunity and this moment, and I'm just taking it all in right now.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
T-Mac, when you think about this offense you're joining at the moment, what do you know about this crowd, and how do you think you're going to fit into it?
Oh, man, I think it's going to be amazing. First things first, obviously, Bryce Young, Cali to Cali connection. That's immediately. And as well as, the other receivers, Xavier, Adam Thielen. And I feel like, our OC, Coach Izzik, will definitely, put it together. I know Coach Canales calls the plays, and, I'm confident in them, and they're confident in me. And, I'm just ready, to take the Panthers to the next level.
Yeah. What do you remember about those interactions with Coach Canales in particular through this process?
Shoot, you know what? It was really just good vibes. It was nothing but good vibes. Really talking about just regular stuff. You know, he's a kid from Carson. You know, and I'm from Cali as well. So I feel like we hit it off really well, and really it was just kind of, you know, they took a chance on me, and you know, I'm super blessed.
Hey, T-Mac.
If you guys are tuned in, we are watching the T-Mac press conference going live now.
So-
We'll get back to the draft in a second.
Going off that, so quickly, you and Bryce Young went to rival high schools. I recently learned.
Yeah.
What about, do you remember, I know you guys weren't exactly the same years, but what do you remember about Bryce playing, and does that make it more exciting to be able to play with him?
I mean, shoot, the first thing I remember about Bryce is he whooped us his senior year on national television by 45 points. But man, I always saw him growing up. You know, he was that dude in 8th grade on the IE Ducks. He went to Cathedral, was a guy, transferred to Mater Dei, finished the number one quarterback, number one player in the country in 2020. I mean, and he won the Heisman in college. I mean, he's literally been the best player at each level of the game. And you know, I've always wanted to be. I've always wanted to be a part of something like that. You know, and I'm just fortunate, you know, that he sat on the table for me, and you know that I'm able to play with him. And
Joe Person just tweeted that out a second ago, but it does sound like this partially was a Bryce Young push, is the way that we would see this. And folks, while we're also taking a second, we have Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M edge prospect that also really good measurables, really good numbers when it comes to like how he graded out, how he performed. Of course, production wasn't there. Going to the Cincinnati Bengals. So, yeah, we figured defense. Guess what? You need defense, you draft defense. We'll keep this running.
Man, like I said, that connection is going to be something special.
And then can you take us through your apparel tonight? I know that Polynesian culture means a lot to you. Can you explain why you're wearing what you're wearing?
So as far as just the lay?
Well, that for sure, but you can go through the rest of the fit too.
Oh, yeah. Don't mind the color. I know I got the wrong colors on, but I'm wearing purple. You know, it's my favorite color. It represents royalty. Then, you know, I got some gold chains, black toe.
Bro, can we just talk like for 1 second how NIL has changed college football? Like, are you kidding me? Decked out. It's wild world, man.
Wearing some Travis Scotts because I'm a Jordan athlete. And then, you know, shout out to my grandma for, you know, making these lays, man. Everybody in the green room had it on. So, you know, we did something that's never been done. You know, we put the lay on the commissioner. So hopefully, you know, we can start a new trend.
Thanks, man.
I did not see that because I've been in here. So I'll have to go back and watch that.
Hey, T-Mac, Steve Reed from the Associated Press. First of all, welcome to Carolina and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Hey, tell me, can I follow up a little bit on the relationship with Bryce? So have you guys have you met, or is it just kind of, you know him from a, you know, close distance, or have you guys talked? And tell me a little bit about that relationship if you can. I just got a quick follow-up after that.
Oh, yeah. We kind of just, like I said, we played against each other in high school. So we kind of just knew of each other, recognized our each other's talents. But I had recently, I was fortunate enough to recently meet him probably about a month ago for the first time at 3D QB in Cali. And, you know, I was fortunate enough it was my first time ever, you know, catching the ball from him and running routes for him. So I guess you can say we got a head start on our little chemistry.
That's good. And as a receiver, what do you feel like you bring to the Panthers?
Oh, man. I think I bring a lot. You know, I feel like I'm a reliable receiver, one that can, you know, play inside and outside, whatever they may need me. But also, you know, outside the field, you know, I feel like I'm gonna bring a good energy to the locker room. You know, I feel like I'm gonna build that camaraderie, that relationship with not only Bryce but the the other receivers in the room, as well as, you know, Coach Moore. And, you know, I have faith in Coach Moore and his coaching that he's going to get me to that next level. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we chasing greatness. So that's the plan.
All right, and we will go to Mike Solarte, followed by Joe, and then throw it over to David Newton.
Where you say, T-Mac, welcome to Carolina. Mike Solarte with Spectrum News 1. You touched on it a little bit earlier about the wide receiver group. Can you kind of offer up some thoughts on being able to work with a guy like Adam Thielen, who's seen it all and pretty much done it all? I mean, could you have found a better mentor for your first year?
I mean, yeah, that's a blessing for me in my position. You know, obviously having Adam Thielen, you know, he's a seasoned vet. He's been in the league for a little while. So, you know, he's pretty much seen the ins and out of this league. And just me being able to come in and just basically, you know, for him to take me under his wing. And, you know, although, you know, I got drafted 8th overall, I'm coming into the facility with an open mind. You know, at the end of the day, I'm ready to be as great as possible. I'm willing to do whatever it takes for this team to be as good as it needs to be. And, you know, I'm all ears and open-minded to the wisdom and the knowledge that anybody has to give me.
We'll pause there. Another draft pick. Seahawks taking North Dakota State offensive lineman Gray Zabel. Do not know anything about him. So there you have it. We're going on to pick number, 19 now. Moving through the draft. We'll keep running this. Almost done.
And just as a follow-up to that, what do fans not know about your game that you're ready to put out there in front of them?
Oh, my game? Shoot, man. My versatility. You know, I know we got a few other receivers in the receiver room, and I feel like our receiver room is going to be incredible. So, you know, I'm willing to play wherever, whether it's X, F, Z. And I feel like we're going to put that on the nose as far as my versatility goes.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Appreciate
it. Hey, T-Mac, welcome with The Athletic. Could you expand a little bit on what you said earlier about Bryce standing on the table for you?
So, yeah, he just told me at 3D QB, you know, that he's been, you know, sitting on the table for me, you know, going into the Mr. Morgan's office, going into Coach Canales' office, and really just sitting on the table for me and telling him, hey, man, we need to pick this guy. And
Bryce Young selection.
So I give although, you know, I feel like I did what I needed to do to be in the position. I gave credit to Bryce for, you know, vouching for me and ultimately, you know, for them taking the chance on me.
How big a deal is that? I mean, it sounds like you guys were did you say you were the same year in high school?
No, he's 2 years older than me.
Okay, sorry about that. But you guys are both young guys. I mean, how about the opportunity to kind of grow with him as he takes the next step, as you take the first steps in your career?
I mean, it's a blessing for me knowing that I have a young quarterback to grow with throughout in the league, and just being able to have a quarterback that's reliable, being able to have a quarterback that trusts in me. And I know he's solid people's when I met him. You know, he's a good kid, man. You know, it's definitely someone I look up to growing up. So being able to finally be on his team and fortunate enough to catch his passes, I mean, I feel like sky's the limit for both of us in this offense.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate it.
Hey, teammate David Newton, ESPN.com. So what do you remember about Bryce's game and that 5-point loss?
Oh, man. I mean, first of all, his team was the best, well, the second best team in the country that year. They lost to St. John Bosco. But in my eyes, he was the best player in the country, and to everybody else's eyes. But, man, he was just really good. He knew how to get his teammates involved. He was super patient in the pocket. He threw a pretty ball. And, you know, he has swag on that field. You know, you can tell he's confident, but also, you know, calm, collected. And I feel like that's kind of a reflection of my game as well. You know, I feel like we both kind of the moment's not too high, too low for us, and I feel like we'll complement each other really good.
And having said that, have you followed his career the last couple of years, and how surprised are you that he struggled so much those first couple of years?
I mean, yeah, like I said earlier, he's been the best player at every level. And, you know, obviously these past couple of years, you know, he struggled a little bit. And I was surprised, you know, he one of the best players I've ever seen in my life. And, you know, like I said to somebody else earlier, just towards the end of the season, you know, you saw a glimpse of his greatness. And, you know, it looked like he finally got his swagger back, finally got his confidence back. And that's a huge testament to, you know, Andy Dalton just kind of bringing him along. And, man, I feel like this is the year where, you know, Bryce will explode, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
I think you're the second T-Mac for this team. They had one in 1995, way before you were born, that was called Tim McKyer. So,
oh, wow.
Anyway. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, man.
All right, we will go over to Vashti, and we have time for a couple more. So if you have any other questions, please raise your hand.
Hi, T-Mac, Vashti Hurd with Carolina Blitz. Welcome to Carolina. I wanted to, just for clarification, you said you want to be called T-Mac, and then you had another name. Can you say that again?
Oh, yeah, my name right here on my chain, Nalo. N-A-L-O, Nalo.
Tell us what that means, the background behind it, please.
So it's kind of a nickname that my friends gave me, being from Waimanalo, Hawaii, on the east side of Oahu. And, you know, I kind of just, like I said, they gave me the nickname, and I kind of turned it to my own brand. Obviously, you know, I got it on my chain. I have it on my T-shirts. And basically, you know, just kind of wanted to make it my brand. And that's what it is.
Thank you. So T-Mac or Nalo?
Hey, that's it. There you go.
All right. Also, I wanted to know about your, I know you had a visit here in Charlotte. Just tell us the vibes that you got from Dave Canales and how you guys meshed personality.
Only a minute, 2 minutes left of this. We do have the Bucks picking Emeka Ibuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Reported in with this room.
Wise, he said you were a good fit personality-wise for this team. Why do you think that is?
I mean, first things first, he's a Cali dude. So, you know, that's immediate chemistry. You know, he looks like he felt like a good just father, good husband, you know, somebody that, you know, I would potentially want to be around. And, you know, I'm finally fortunate enough to actually be around him. So, but that facility, you know, they gave me nothing but good energy, you know, good vibes, cool peoples. Definitely some of that people that I can mesh with. So I'm just looking forward to coming to Charlotte tomorrow and seeing everybody.
Thanks.
All right, and we will wrap with Scott Fowler.
Hi, T-Mac. Congratulations with the local paper here, the Charlotte Observer. I wonder if there are any wide receivers in the NFL you would currently compare yourself to, or, you know, guys that you've emulated, idols in the position, people that you want to be like.
I mean, shoot, first things first, my favorite football player ever is Larry Fitzgerald. And then two receivers that, you know, I watch and, you know, I feel like I can emulate and similar play styles is Mike Evans and Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen. Mike Evans makes sense.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, you guys.
Cool. Let's stop that one. Let's get back to the board. Almost done with the first round. I may have to cut it, though, primarily because I need to record a video, just a quick video, man. That's how YouTube works. You got to have the videos. You got to have the content out there so people click it and watch it, react to it. That's how this thing works. Let's go out. But we're moving into the Broncos. The real question at pick 21. What is Pittsburgh going to do? I am also curious how that's going to play out. There's been a few things out here. Let's share this one. We'll hop back over in a second. Dan Orlovsky, an hour ago, his favorite pick so far has been the Panthers. Let's hear what he says.
The Panthers taking Ted McMillan is my favorite pick so far. Thought it was a huge year for Bryce Young a couple weeks ago. Talked about them adding at 8 a wide receiver. I love Ted McMillan. So now you have Ted McMillan, you have Xavier Legette, who they took in the first round last year, and then you have Adam Thielen, who still is very, very good in the inside. Good offensive line. Dude, Ted McMillan is very similar to Drake London. crazy athletic, ball skills down the field, great body control, shields defenders, can go up and get the football. Massive year for Bryce. This is my favorite pick of the draft so far. Absolutely love it.
So you have that reaction there. Trey Boston weighing in. A bunch of other guys that are not a fan. Kyle Bailey, you guys know, big fan of Kyle Bailey, has a poll running. Do you like the Panthers taking Tet? 45% yes. You can see I selected no, 54.9. So honestly, almost 50-50 split, leaning a little bit closer to the no side. And then there was one other thing I saw. Steve Smith, not a fan. He's not a fan of this either. Tweeting. I don't know. I've never seen this gift, but that's funny. And then you do have Xavier, who doesn't like. I don't even think he tweets that often. He still has his bio as South Carolina, but he's on here. I guess he's like. I'm assuming this is him. You never know with all these. I don't know that I can like fully believe it. I mean, you would assume so, but then again, you never know with this stuff. But it looks like it, close to it. Anyways, I'll go back to the draft board here. Likely not going to see anything else tonight from the Panthers. Let's cue this up. Let me try to get this pulled back. All right. What we got going over here? Yep, it is a deep edge class. I was trying to see what you guys are saying. Landon Jackson, Jack Sawyer, guy from Michigan, yeah. Josiah Stewart. I also think if we're talking super late, which we've looked at, Kyle Kennard also an option. It's a possibility there. More than likely, we're probably going to shut it down for the night because we've been streaming for almost 2 hours, which is more than enough time for me. And I may create a video tonight. I may not. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, appreciate you guys tuning in as always. We're going to sign off for the night. This is Carolina Dad. I hope you guys have a great one. Appreciate you tuning in.